I'm looking for Lau. Very easy for me to pin both the stolen silver and this murder on you and your girls.
After mythologizing Birmingham gang warfare during the 1920s in Peaky Blinders, showrunner Stephen Knight has headed south to expose the criminal underbelly of 1880s London in his new Disney Plus six-parter, 1,000 Blows. Victorian London was the capital of the world, explains Knight. It was a place where you literally had to fight to survive. It was just a place with a lot of mad stuff going on. Inspired by an idea brought to Knight by actor-producers Stephen Graham and Hannah Walters, 1,000 Blows is a vibrantly colorful world dominated by bare-knuckle boxing, opportunistic girl gangs, class warfare, and ridiculously natty threads. Here, Knight explains how to make London history hip in 6 steps. Make it about class. 1,000 Blows centers on Hezekiah Moscow, Malachi Kirby, and Alec Munro, Francis Lovehall, best friends from Jamaica, who arrive in 1880s London and find themselves thrust into the bare-knuckle boxing scene of the criminal underworld. While the pair face racism, the show provides a more progressive view of London as a cultural melting pot, Hezekiah and Alec also finding kindness and acceptance in the local community. The issue in this show isn't so much gender or race, it's class, says Knight. White women, black men, black women, white men, all of them are cold when it's cold. All of them are hungry when there's no food. The things that are held in common by people in the East End of London are far greater than the divisions. The division is with the people in the West End, the aristocracy. 2, land your punches. When Hezekiah steps through the ropes, he faces the governor of the East End fight world, Sugar Goodson, played by a hench Stephen Graham. The show is set at the tipping point when bare-knuckle boxing was giving way to the more gentlemanly art of pugilism pioneered by the Earl of Lonsdale, Adam Nagaitis. This was a time when in the East End you fought with bare knuckles, and in the West End you increasingly fought with gloves. The class system is symbolized by gloves or no gloves, says Knight. The showrunner had concerns about filming the boxing scenes. Boxing is really easy to do badly, but this is done by the best people and looks great, but ended up having to hold his cast back. Malachi told me he wished he'd been hit so he knew what it felt like. 3, mix feminism with flick knives. Hezekiah's prowess in the ring captures the attention of Mary Carr, the Crown's Erin Doherty, the leader of a gang of female thieves called the 40 Elephants. Some accounts put the name down to the perps operating out of Elephant and Castle, but Knight has a more poetic explanation. They were called elephants because when they stole from Harrods and Selfridges, they would be wearing layers of dresses and coats, so they'd waddle out looking like elephants. The thieving escapades add a romp element to Knight's tale, but he acknowledges that it's not all fun and games because they did have knives and razor blades. They would just show up en masse, cause absolute chaos, and steal loads of stuff. They were very much in charge of their own destiny. 4, rebuild Victorian London from the ground up. Peaky Blinders famously drew much atmosphere from shooting in real Birmingham locations, but for 1,000 Blows, Knight and production designer Tom Burton decided to recreate the East End, both interiors and exteriors, in an abandoned brewery in Mortlake, West London. About 1,000 Blows is how modern it feels, agrees Paste magazine, and how deftly it uses its historical setting to wrestle with very contemporary social issues and themes. The fight scenes are heavy and visceral, says IGN of the boxing, and the confrontations between main characters even more so. The performances, especially at the top, are excellent, says the Hollywood Reporter of Malachi Kirby, Erin Doherty, and Stephen Graham. Graham is drawing particular praise for his depiction of brutal Victorian pugilist Henry Sugar Goodson. It is Graham's great gift, demonstrated already in so much of his previous work, to let us glimpse the terror that dwells within those who make it their business to terrorize, notes Lucy Mangan in The Guardian. 1,000 Blows is streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.